What is up, world? It's been a while, but today we have a Bleach 6:30 review. I know I was supposed to have this up earlier, except I had to work a little longer than expected. But you're still getting it. So anyway, this chapter opens up where the last chapter ended, with the rubble flying as Grimmjow goes off on Knuckleville. I think it's Knuckleville. Knuckleville, whatever. But he's like, oh, that's one down. And Ichigo comes running up and saying, why don't you stick to the plan? And, Grimmjow is like, meh. Anyway, Knuckleball's alive and starts booking it. And he's taking some, a little bit of damage here. As Grimmjow and Ichigo are arguing with one another. Well, Grimmjow notices him running. And then Kurosaki, this is actually really funny. Ichigo's like, you just gonna let him get away? And in this panel, actually, if you look back, if anything, if at all, I don't think there has been, but this is the first time we've actually seen Grimmjow with any type of humor-based expressions. As you know, in the Uranka arc, he was an antagonist, and he really had some hatred for Ichigo. But now that he's on the other side of the fence, he's helping them. I think Kubo is actually putting more personality into him, which is a sad thing because it seems like all the antagonists there's no other personality. They have one personality and they stick to it. Like Aizen, you never really see anything outside Aizen in his regular demeanor, and it's kind of irritating because it's hard to. I think that's one of Bleach's biggest downfalls, is that it's hard to really relate to a character when they do not have a dynamic of emotion and expressions. That's why I think the other shonen do a very well job with character development, whereas Bleach is just more of a it's got good fights kind of thing. The character development, I feel like, could use a ton of more deepness, but hey, it's been going for a long time, and nothing we can do about it now. But anyway, after that funny little panel, he goes, Grimmjow goes and starts chasing Knuckleville. And he's like, if you promise, I'll stop if you promise not to turn me into a lump of flesh. Then he's like, I'd be happy to wait. And then Grimmjow's like, well, who said anything about that? Then Knuckleville's obviously like, what do you mean? And he's like, and Grimmjow responds, if you're weaker than me, then you probably won't die. But then Knuckleville's probably my ass. It's like, do I look like I was born yesterday? And these panels are funny. They are probably some of the best ones. With Knuckleville's pointing back at Grimmjow while booking it straight ahead. It's incredibly funny. But then Grimmjow asks, you came here to fight, then what's with you running, pretty much. And then Knuckleville admits that he ended up wanting to ambush them. And that he didn't want to fight them straight off. And he also didn't think that Grimmjow would be there. And he's like, who are you anyway? And it's like, me? I'm Kurosaki's sworn enemy. And then Knuckleville's like, oh, well, that's great. Let's be comrades. And he's like, let's rip them apart together. But then Grimmjow just kind of gets irritated. He's like, you sure do love the sound of your own voice. He's like, screw it, keep running if you want. And then this is where it gets interesting. Grimmjow puts his hands down on the ground, and he's getting some new type of ability here. Anyway, his hands begin to develop the same shape as he would have them when he has his release form, Pantera. And he's like, hey, once I get you, I'm gonna skin you alive in true Grimmjow sadistic fashion. And then Knuckleville's like, what? And he just starts booking it. This character is so weird to me looking wise, but it's so funny. I just can't get over it. Anyway, so we get the Bleach 6:30 title, and then we get a little snippet that says, is that all? As Jugram, or Hoshwald, whatever you want to call him, is talking to a subordinate, and the subordinate's explaining that all the Schutzwaffen have been split up into 5 different directions to search out for targets. As we get the title of the chapter, The Twinned Twilight, which is a tongue twister. Anyway, Jugram asked, wait, he said 5 directions. So that means that Udia is with it. And the subordinate, says, yeah, we're just following the Majesty's orders in that regard. And then Jugram's like, which way did he go? And explains to him that he wants him to tail him. So explaining that he can't leave himself because once, he has his orders to stay there, and we get an explanation why he can't really leave Juhabak's side. Anyway, he starts monologuing, saying it's too much to leave Uryu to his own devices, pretty much explaining that even though that he's part of this elite team of Sternritter, and that there's some trust there, there's not enough for him to just be going off by himself. But that right as soon as Jugram says, "What are you waiting for? Go and find him," the subordinate stands up, "Yes, sir," and just bam, his eyeball gets blown out. And if there is ever a resurrection to the anime, this is so getting censored. I wish it wouldn't, but this is. And sure enough, it's Bazz-B behind him, saying that Uryu is the last thing he should be worried about. And Jugram says, Bazz-B is, what's the meaning of this? And then they go on to spat, and this is why he's here. It's like, you should be asking me, Bazz-B responds, you should be asking me why I'm still alive. And then he starts attacking Jugram with the burner finger 1, grabbing him. And Jugram flips over, throws his cape in his face and hits him with the butt end of his sword, of his hilt, I mean. And then just go back and forth, and he shoots another finger, burn finger at him. And then Jugram's like, well, I see the wounds you have are from His Majesty's Oshwin, and which means select or pick. It's because you weren't chosen. And Bazz-B responds, me. So while you get to do the deciding, everyone not worthy faces the wrath of his ability. He goes on to explain that it's pretty much genocide, that anyone that managed to avoid direct contact still lost their Voltstender. I am doing horrible with these pronunciations today. Man, my head hurts. But anyway, pretty much saying that those powers, those complete Quincy powers, had been stolen from them. And those that didn't manage to avoid a direct hit lost their lives. Jugram explains, I see, you have my sympathy. Bazz-B responds, don't give me that shit, I don't need it, kind of thing. You knew from the very beginning, tell me I'm wrong. This is the back and forth they're having. Jugram responds that, what's it gonna do? What good will it do you now? There's nothing I can do. Even if you said anything different, would you believe me? Bazz-B says, I would. After all, you and I are friends, are we not? And this is interesting for me, because, in the Arrancar, the Espada, we didn't have, there was some camaraderie there, but it wasn't like friends. We didn't have any personal ties with the characters in that establishment. Anyway, he goes out to call out Jugram's name, and, Hoshvolt responds, Bazz-B. And Bazz-B responds, just call me Baz like you did back then, with a crazy face. And then he starts getting serious again, is this burner finger 2. And Jugram responds, it looks like our dialogue is at an end. Bazz-B says, look outside, nightfall will fall before long. And this is why Jugram has to stay here. When night comes and His Majesty sleeps, your power and His Majesty's will switch. I came here to kill His Majesty's power along with you, traitor. And then finally, we have a snippet of just burning. Everything's burning. And then, isn't that right, Jugram? And then in the little side, we see a scene from a day long ago, which I think we're going to get a actual, look at the Quincy's. If not, just maybe Bazz-B alone, but at least we'll get something. Now, regarding Bazz-B and why he's one of my favorite, not favorite characters, but favorite Quincy's, I should say, it's because he has character to him. He's not just a one dynamic dude. We've seen him smile, we've seen him get crazy. We've seen him serious, you know, all that. And then not only that, but we also see that he is the type of person who can, you know, take on a personal relationship such as friendship, which, you know, in Bleach it's a big deal. Friendship's the big thing, but we don't see that from the enemy. Or I know Bazz-B's not an enemy now, but he sure was, you know, I say, you know, he sure was in the beginning of all this before he was pretty much betrayed. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the chapter. Overall, I'd say the first half was funny, and the last half was more insightful, I guess, or becoming more insightful plot-wise. What do you guys feel about Grimmjow? I feel like he's getting a lot of screen time now, and I'm enjoying it. I love Grimmjow. I just can't wait to see what he's really up to, what he's made of anymore. It should be interesting. But guys, sorry for, I promise the future videos this is going to be a little better. Just getting back into things, so everything's going to be a little rusty. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and you have a good day. Later, guys.